This is In the Margin, and let's open today's text. And so this isn't about finding the correct meaning. It's about slowing down long enough to notice what the music reveals about us. And here we treat songs like living text, and we underline what catches our attention, question what feels familiar, and write our own notes in the margins. Because the most important part of any song isn't just what you hear, it's what you discover when you stop listening, when you stop long enough to listen. So today we are going to explore the lyrics of L.E.S. Artistes by Santigold. The reason why I chose this song is that it really does ask. I feel like this is a song that demonstrates like what authenticity, like when authenticity can become performance, and just kind of talking about it from that standpoint. And so it's like the question that I have here is like, what happens when everyone is trying to be seen, but no one knows who they are anymore? That's a huge, huge, huge challenge that I see so many people struggling with in today's day and age. What's really interesting about this song is when we think about the fact that this song was released in 2008, and when I listen to it now, the context is so much more different. I feel like it's giving commentary on influencer culture before influencer culture fully existed. It was not what it is today in 2008. So today we're going to be reading between the lines, because this isn't just a song about artists. I think it's also a song about identity, about image, about performance, and it's about what happens when we start confusing visibility with value. Before we hop into breaking down this In the Margins episode, I just want to make a quick note that this was created, if you're watching this in real time, this goes along with the summer school in session for the F Your High Vibes podcast that I host. And each lesson, there's a song to kind of help support that lesson. And this was birthed from that, getting in the margins, looking at what the lyrics say, and kind of writing down notes and how we can utilize what it is that we hear to learn about ourselves. Because I said, it's like, what does it say about us? How do I see myself in this song? How can this provide a level of pattern recognition, which is what I do? So if you're watching this in the future, this is 100% also standalone as well. But if you want to explore the lessons that are attached to this particular episode and the one before and few proceeding afterwards, head over to my Substack page and you can dive deeper into that. L.E.S. Artistes. I realize I said that wrong in the podcast, but that's okay. So this was released in 2008 by Santigold, and we're going to get into the lyrics here. So we're going to go verse by verse and see where this takes us. So the first one, what I'm searching for, to tell it straight, I'm trying to build a wall, walking by myself down avenues that reek of time to kill. Oh my goodness. What I'm searching for. There's a level of active focus and attention in like what I'm searching for. To tell it straight, I'm trying to build a wall. It's seeking meaning while also focusing on putting up a barrier, or let's say boundaries or some sort. Like there's like, So there's a level of self-discovery that is currently engaged in. There's like I realize I feel like this could be like a self-awakening story. We're going on a hero's journey here. That's what we're doing. We're going on a hero's journey. And as anyone knows, you go on the journey, you have to walk the journey by yourself. And then it goes into walking by myself down avenues that reek of time to kill. So walking by myself, like she's moving through the world. And then what's really curious, and I wrote this, like reek, that's such a strong word. There's a level of offensiveness, and it's like usually like an offensive smell, like it, nothing urgent to do, like time to kill. So moving through the world, walking, moving through the world, surrounded by offensive smelling things. Oh, hold on. So down avenues that reek of time to kill. There's an offensive smell of nothing urgent to do. So it's like I'm moving through the world surrounded by a lack of purpose that's very offensive in experiencing. Like the experience of it is very offensive. Then we go into verse 2. I think that's pretty. We're starting the journey. The journey has begun. There's a level of awakening. There's a level of awareness. Then we go into verse 2. Verse 2, if you see me keep going, be a pass-by waver. Build me up, bring me down, just leave me out, you name dropper. Stop trying to catch my eye. I see you good, you forced faker. You make it easy. You're my enemy, you fast talker. There's so much in this particular verse. Oh my gosh. So if you see me keep going, be a pass by waiver. When you see me, just keep on walking by. Just keep on going by. As you acknowledge that you see me. Literally, that's what that's saying. Build me up, bring me down, just leave me out, you name dropper. Whatever you choose to do, don't bother speaking to me. Do not involve me in what you talk about. So the thing about this particular, when we put this together, the note that I wrote is that not everyone who notices you deserves access to you. And the thing that I feel like these two lines expose is how people praise you, they build you up, and then they bring you down. People praise you until it benefits them not to. They talk good about you in front of your face and then talk bad about you behind your back. Nowadays, they do it. They're wishy-washy. And the name dropper isn't interested in you as a person. They're just interested in what your name can do for their reputation. So this is not a friendship. It's essentially a social currency. And the thing, how this relates to how the culture is now, is that you have a lot of people who collect relationships the way that they collect like collectible items, like trinkets. And those relationships then become proof of status. I think a better example is they collect relationships the way, some people may collect like luxury brands. And so those relationships become proof of status. Like, ooh, I have this collection of fill in the luxury brand. and, a lot of luxury brands equate to a level of status, culturally speaking. And the thing about it is, like, if people only value your name, they don't value you. They don't really value you. Mm-mm. Then it goes on to the next two verses here. Stop trying to catch my eye. See you good, you force faker. Just make it easy. You're my enemy, you fast talker. Okay. This one right here. This one right here. So it's like, stop trying to catch my eye. So there's like, someone's trying to catch her attention. And also, she sees them very clearly as, I see you good. Like, I see you for what you are. It's very clear. Forced faker. So you're trying to catch my attention because I can see you clearly. Your fakeness is clear to me. Fraudulent. And then it goes into just make it easy. You're my enemy, you fast talker. So listen, let's just make it simple and clear that we are not friends on any level. One of the things when you look at like a lot of these hero or heroine's journey is that people come into the journey and there's a level of having to decipher and decide like who is against me and who is with me. So it's like, stop trying to catch my eye. I see you. I see you good. She's like, I see you good. I see you very clearly. You're fake. You're fake. And how I see this relating to the culture now is that you have a lot of people who don't actually want that connection. No, they want the proximity to someone they believe has value. People put themselves in proximity of people because of that perceived value, right? Proof of status. That relationship becomes a proof of status, which means based on your status, you have a certain level of value. So when we put this together, this is about discernment. It's about recognizing people who want association instead of relationship, who perform sincerity instead of embodying it, right? Because they like flatter when it's useful and they criticize when it's useful. They're wishy-washy. They don't really care about you. They don't see your value. Because if someone sees your value, they see your value regardless of the quote unquote imperfections that you have. A lot of times people realize your imperfections are what make you unique, and you start to understand that those perfections can become a superpower in so many ways. And so essentially, it's like I recognize the game and I'm also choosing not to play it. And so when we go back to this particular verse, when we go back to this verse, the name dropper borrows credibility, right? The forced faker performs authenticity, and the fast talker manufactures trust. And so each one of these represents a different way people attempt to gain influence without going or doing the deeper work of becoming trustworthy. So who in your life, because the lyrics are like providing an opportunity of like seeing ourselves, who in your life earns your trust through consistency, and who earns your attention through performance? Because confidence without integrity becomes manipulation. So, as the lyrics say, I see you good, you forced faker. Who's the forced faker? And who's the real? Next verse we have, I can say I hope it will be worth what I gave up. Oh, if I could stand up, mean for all the things that I believe. Oh, I can say I hope it will be worth what I give up. Oh, I could stand up, mean for all the things that I believe. This is really interesting. This is a really interesting part of the lyrics here. And like what really stands out to me is I hope it will be worth what I give up, right? Because when you kind of look at this, it's like, especially coming out of the previous verse, was talking about like, oh, I see very clearly, like I see people for what they are, starting to see people for what they are, and it's like recognizing like I know this costs something, and like I hope it will be worth what I give up. Because choosing integrity and independence and authenticity, it often means giving up approval and access, comfort, sometimes money, status, or belonging. And it's saying like if I could stand up for all the things that I believe, I want to stand by my beliefs, is what that's saying. And not just privately believing something, but publicly living it. I could stand up for all the things that I believe. And so the struggle here is like, can I commit to those beliefs when there are real consequences? Because there's recognizing that I know this costs something, by I hope it will be worth what I give up. And I think what's really important too is like, I hope it will be worth it versus it will be worth it. There's a level of uncertainty in that distinction there. And I really want to bring this point heavy because, you know, people often talk about authenticity as if it's like easy. And these lyrics specifically are very honest and like understanding, I know this costs something. I hope it will be worth what I give up. Right. So it admits the truth that like authenticity, you may lose opportunities, you may lose people, you know, maybe who only like the like the performative part of it, like the performance of who you are, right? You may also lose status, and you can, it's like you may become less marketable in order to become more honest. So authenticity, then I think it's fair to say that authenticity is not free because it costs every version of you that existed to keep other people comfortable. And so up until this point, it's like, oh, looking at how the external world is expressed, looking at the culture, and also admitting that there's part of the struggle with that realization. And so then it moves from the real question being like whether the culture is fake. It's like, no, this is what the culture is. It's the question becomes like, are you willing to lose what the culture rewards in order to live what you actually believe? Are you willing? It's the integrity, standing in integrity, choosing integrity, authenticity. over approval and access and money and status or belonging. So when we look at this together, this entire thing, I'm trying to live my beliefs, right? But I'm honest enough to admit that I don't yet know whether the sacrifice required will feel worth it. And that uncertainty is what makes these lyrics feel so much more honest and human. It highlights the contradiction, the conflict that sometimes we find ourselves in. And if we're bringing this back to the hero's journey, right? It's like seeing who's on your side, trying to see like who has my back and like who's really helping me to get to a sense of enlightenment and who's trying to keep me from that. The next verse, the lyrics go on to say, "What am I here for? I left my house to disappear is all. I'm here for myself, not to know you. I don't need no one else." So here we start to notice there's this transition in the journey for sure. Let's just pin that here. What am I here for? And, it's not just asking like, why am I here? Why am I here doing this right now? Right? It's asking, what happened? Why am I doing this work? Why did I choose this path? Like there's a level of reckoning that comes. What is my purpose beyond success? What am I trying to become? And so these questions come after a level of disillusionment, right? You start to like, oh my goodness, I realize there's people that do not have my best interest at heart. And the thing about this disillusionment is that it can feel like it's the end of the journey for for various moments and experiences. But what happens is that it's the beginning of purpose. It's the beginning, it's the start of realizing like, what is my purpose? What am I trying to do here? There has to be greater meaning than this. It comes to a point where it's like there has to be something more than this, and feeling like there's more than this. There has to be. There has to be. And that's the beginning of purpose. And that disillusionment, it comes on the other side of this reckoning. Because when we look at the lyrics, "I left my home to disappear is all," literally, there's so many different levels that I can take this. When we look at it I'll take it from like psychologically speaking, like when we think of like home symbolizes our original identity, the place where you knew who you were. And sometimes we leave that version of ourselves chasing success and relationships or like quote unquote healing or reinvention. And somewhere along the way, we disappear. We have lost ourselves, not physically, but, psychologically. And what has happened is that we've become so adaptable to this new environment or what have you, that we lose touch with ourselves. And there's an awakening to like, oh my goodness, it's part of the journey, the hero's journey here. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, I've lost, like we think like, oh, I've lost myself through the trauma. And I see so many times, myself included, like I recognize myself, like 100% can call myself out in this, in that, sometimes we lose ourselves through this accommodation to where we become whoever the room requires of us and sometimes rewards us for being that in order to stay in that space. And the thing about disappearing is it doesn't mean that no one can find you. What it means is that you can no longer find yourself. So spiritually speaking, the culture teaches us who to become, what success looks like, what deserves love, like what deserves shame. And over time, we disappear beneath those expectations. And so the work then becomes remembering, not becoming something new or someone new. It's remembering. And then we go into the lyrics, I'm here for myself. This is like a declaration of like, I'm no longer letting this environment define why I'm here. There's this reclaiming the sovereignty. I'm here for myself. This is, I know why I'm here. It shifts from like, look at me, how I like the role that I'm assuming versus like, oh, I know why I'm here. I have a greater purpose. And sometimes I know why I'm here is like, I have a greater purpose than this. Like you were questioning, like, there's got to be something more than this. And then you're like, yes, there is. And so maybe you're not quite sure what that is, but you know for sure, yeah, I'm here for something much more than what was or the current experience. And I'm coming back to remembering that that's part of that spiritual awakening. And then it goes on to say, not to know you. Like, I know why I'm here is not to know you specifically. My purpose isn't to accumulate people. I'm not here to collect people, to collect connections. Like so many times, we're told that success depends on who we know. And this is pushing back on that, like, no, not to know you. That's not my purpose, is to collect people or to connect or really collect connections. It says, next lyric is, I don't need no one else. And the thing about it, it's less I don't need anyone and more of I don't need your approval to know who I am. I think that's an important distinction because like I don't need the approval to know who I am. Like it's identity that isn't dependent on external validation. And so there's been this shifting of 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 the journey of like, oh my goodness, seeing things clearly, like they're fake, the performativeness, the manipulation. And now the focus is more of clarifying the self of like, why am I here? Who am I becoming? And what am I? Mm, what kind of person do I want to be regardless of the environment? That's where it comes from. Because it stops asking like, what's wrong with everyone else and really taking, like, recognizing the sovereignty that you have and taking ownership of that. Like, you realize no one's coming to save me because that's not anyone's responsibility. That's my own responsibility. And the thing about this particular verse is It's like learning to remember what's true within you. And that's what discernment is. It's like pausing to allow for greater insight and greater clarity. The next verse we have is fit in so good. The hope is that you cannot see me later. You don't know me. I'm an introvert and an excavator. I'm ducking out for now, a face in dodgy elevators, creep up, and suddenly I found myself an innovator. I love this part. Fit in so good. The hope is that you cannot see me later. Wow. You know, fit in so good. The hope is that you cannot see me later. When I look at this lyric, right? Fit in so good. The hope is that you cannot see me later. Fit in so good. The hope is that you cannot see me later. Later. When you look at that, it's like fitting in so good that you cannot see me later. It's like I'm masking. I'm invisible. Like, yeah. It's like it's invisibility. And the thing about it is like sometimes we do that in order to survive. Like fitting in isn't, I feel like fitting in is more than just belonging. It's really survival. It really is survival. And then I'm just going to go on because I could, for sake of time, like, you don't know me. This is the part that we're like, ooh, you don't know me. I'm an introvert, an excavator. I love this, right? An introvert isn't, I think people feel like introverts are like really, really shy. No, I think it's more than that. What it tends to be happening with a lot of introvert is that, people who are introverts, they're usually someone who processes information internally before expressing externally. And so they observe more than they perform. And then it's like, I'm an introvert, an excavator. Like I'm an introvert, an excavator. And it's like an excavator, like they dig, an excavator digs. It goes beneath the surface of things. It uncovers what's been buried. And so when you think of that, I'm an introvert, an excavator, it's like, oh, you think I'm quiet because I have nothing to say. And actually, I'm studying everything. That is discernment. That is literally what discernment is about. So you have some people who collect attention while others collect understanding, which is what this introvert and this excavator is. And it's like, you don't know me. You think you know me, but you have no idea. You don't know me because I'm going deep. You don't know me because you're not there going deep. You're surface level. So therefore you don't know me because we're not on the same level. I'm ducking out for now, facing dodgy elevators, ducking out, slipping away, slipping out the back door. A face in dodgy elevators. When you think of like dodgy like elevators, you feel like there's a level of elevation. There's a level of like moving up the the I feel like social climbing, right? It's like status. A face in dodgy elevators. I'm ducking out of being that face. Like you're not gonna see me there. You're not gonna see my face there. Like I'm not trying to network. I'm not trying to work the room. I'm trying to leave it. I'm ducking out for now. So there's a level of protecting one's energy by stepping away from that environment that also rewards constant visibility, but also is very surface level, just doesn't feel aligned anymore. And then creep up and suddenly I find myself an innovator. I love this. Because, the thing about it is I found creep up and suddenly like, oh my goodness, like, how did that happen? Like, dang, creep up and suddenly oh, wow, here we are. And here we are is what comes up. I find myself an innovator. It's like the innovation wasn't the goal, it was the byproduct. And when we think of like an innovator innovation requires a level of originality. Like innovation is something new and original. It's an original thought. That's what makes you an innovator. But originality often comes from paying attention to your own perspective than trying to be different for its own sake. Right? And you have so many people who chase originality. But originality comes by being that excavator, going deeper. And going deeper requires a lot of times removing oneself of those spaces. And you have so many people who desperately try to become influential that are often the ones copying everyone else. That's the irony of it. And so the person that's quietly paying attention, the introverted excavator, eventually creates something no one has seen before. Because in order to create something new, you have to go to new places that no one has been to explore new possibilities. And so I think this speaks of like visibility and significance are not the same thing. And so we have a culture that can teach, be seen, be louder, build a personal brand, stay relevant. And the other path, go deeper, is to observe deeply, protect your inner life, do your own thinking, right? Sovereignty, leave when you need to, ducking out, dodgy elevators, I'm out. And then to really create from what you've uncovered by being that introverted excavator. That's how transformation happens. And I feel like there's two kinds of people here. There's curators, those who collect what's already popular, and then you have the excavators. Those are the people who dig until they uncover something true. And those excavators become innovators. That's how you innovate. It innovates. And so it goes back to the journey here. The hero's journey has moved from looking at the external things of how, other people are performing, what have you, right? And then it's like, looking beneath the surface and discovering that originality is what emerges when you stop trying to perform and you start paying attention. That introvert excavator. Then we have the lyrics change, 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 change. Don't want to get up out of my skin. Tell you what, if I can shake it, I'm going to make this something worth dreaming of. When we look at the lyrics, I think this like change, 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 change. It looks very simple, but the fact that the change, it demonstrates that it signals how growth is not linear. So we're on this hero's journey. It's like it hasn't been linear at all. And yet, change, change, come on, change. And, the thing about it is we have to keep calling ourselves toward it. Like change. And like, oh, you may be like, oh my goodness, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. But then we're still going to do the change. Don't want to get up out of my skin. Don't want to get up out of my skin, getting out of your skin, wanting to escape yourself. So it's saying, I don't want to abandon who I am. So it's like asking to change without betraying yourself. And I feel like there's a lot of industries that tell us like you become a new person. And the thing about it is it's not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. Because real transformation, it just doesn't require self-rejection. No, it's about self-awareness and self-acceptance. That's what it's about. Tell you what, if I can shake it, ... What is the it? When I look at that, I'm like, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is the it? And I think never will, like, I think this is very telling of like, what is it? Like, what is the it? Like, what am I trying to shake off? Is it fear? Is it insecurity? Is it people pleasing? Imposter syndrome, the need for approval, the expectations of the culture, right? Like it's saying whatever it is, it's something that's being carried, not something that she is. And I think that is such an important distinction. And I'm going to shake it off. Tell you what it is if I can shake it. Let me go back to the lyrics. Right. And it says, I'm going to make this. Okay. Shake it. A thing about this, I'm going to make this. It's like, it goes back to agency. It goes back to like saving ourselves. It goes back to being responsible for yourself. You are responsible for yourself. You have to save yourself. And so it's like, it's like, I'm going to make this something worth dreaming of. It's taking ownership of your life. Something worth dreaming of. Something alive, something true. And that's specific to each one of us. And the thing that I love about this particular lyric too is that it's like, when I look back at this lyric too of, hold on, I'm trying to, don't want to get out of my skin like that. I just keep coming back to that. Like, don't want to get out of my own skin. Like, I just want to circle back to that. Is that it's like remembering. I was talking about the idea of remembering rather than like reinventing, right? Because like the soul doesn't need replacing. It's the conditioning that does that it part, the mask. And so the transformation isn't becoming someone new. It's uncovering what was there before the world told you who to be. The thing about the ending on this is that it really talks about for all the things that I believe, there is a level of like belief requires that faith. And so the song ends in belief and reminding of the change part of it, right? Of saving ourselves. And it's about honoring the human experience and understanding that it can be a journey, and honoring the journey that you go on, and not picking apart that the journey is what it is, but having the belief and the faith and knowing that sometimes we may choose the harder path because it also aligns with who we are. And that's part of the human experience. And so if I had to summarize this song, I would say that it's a song about, like, I refuse to become someone I'm not, even if authenticity cost me everything I thought I wanted. We spent this entire episode talking about a lot of fake things. And I don't think it's, the song isn't really about whether other people are fake. I think it's really asking a much more uncomfortable question. It's asking, what version of yourself are you slowly giving away in order to be accepted by the world you've chosen to live in? Walking down the avenues. Remember that part? And so then the question that came up in this exploration is that every life asks for a sacrifice. So it's not a question of whether you'll give something up. It's a question of whether what you're giving up is worth what you're getting in return. And that's why this song, it doesn't end with an answer. It ends with hope, having faith. I hope it will be worth what I give up. And so that's what integrity can sound like. It's not certainty. It's choosing to stand for your values, even when you can't yet see the outcome. The journey, because I talked about the hero's journey of this. Like, it started where I see through the performance, right? That's the awakening, the like, I cannot not see it anymore. Then it goes into, I choose not to participate in it. And then I rediscover who I am and who I've been this entire time. Then it moves into, I accept that living from that place will cost me something. And I choose it anyway. And the thing that I love about this song is that L.E.S. Artistes by Santigold, I really feel it talks about this lifelong, like, this tension that can be experienced between authenticity and acceptance. And I loved the honesty of that. I love the vulnerability of that. I love the honoring of the human experience. I really, really do. One last note in the margin is this. If we can remember the dream, we can start to have hope in believing in the reality of that becoming true. Maintain hope. Hope is such a powerful thing. And I really do believe it's what keeps people choosing to live their life for themselves, choosing themselves, saving themselves. That's what's required. That's what's required in saving yourself. So if today's conversation gave you something to think about, I'd love to hear what you wrote in your own margins, and leave a comment below, and let's continue the conversation together. And if you'd like to keep exploring these conversations beyond YouTube, you can find me on my Substack. That's linked below. And then it's on there where I share like reflections and like journal prompts and like practices designed to help you take like these ideas off of the page and into your everyday life. So whether you're looking for a place to begin or your next step forward, you'll find a path of entry waiting for you there. So until next time, keep listening beneath the lyrics, keep questioning what feels familiar, and keep writing your own notes in the margins. See you in the next one.